Okay, so I started personal training. It's going back years now, for 4 or 5 years. But the reason I did it is 'cause there's been a number of attempts at increasing my exercise levels, um, which never lasted for very long. Sometimes only weeks, let alone months. And I recognised that if I was going to actually make some progress, I needed more help than just my own self motivation. You know, the way it was affecting me day to day is quite interesting because my levels of exercise previously had been quite low. I didn't really appreciate uh, the emotional and mental improvements that I'd feel as a result of exercising regularly. Um, so at the time, I was unsure whether or not it was going to be the silver bullet that I needed to help me get that motivation back. But I fairly rapidly began to realize that it wasn't just about moving more, getting stronger, getting fitter. Actually, it was helping me in my day-to-day life, just my capacity to get through the day. I understand I was thinking more clearly, I was sleeping a lot better. So yeah, I mean, at the time I didn't realize how much I needed it. But now I've been doing it for a few years. It would be hard to stop. What stopped? So what stopped me solving the problem myself? Well, I think I'm the type of person that works well with people. I'm that kind of individual that gets a little bit more energy from the people around me rather than from inside. And persistent attempts at trying to resolve this issue on myself then kind of it actually ended up reducing confidence levels to whether or not you can even do it. So there was nothing really stopping me from doing it other than my own personal will, really. But I knew deep down that something needed to change. And also, my wife as well would explain that, you need to go out, you need to do more. You're too large. You need to reduce your size. You need to become fitter. You need to become stronger. So even though I knew deep down it needed to change, I wouldn't necessarily always admit it to myself. But luckily, I've got someone at home who was able to point it out to me as well. So from a personal training point of view, if I go back to right at the very start where we met and the other company that we used to go to, I got quite a lot of energy from doing group sessions with other people because, again, I had that energy from others, to kind of help me move me along, and also the encouragement that they gave me, as well as the trainers themselves. The other thing that was helpful was that I had an appointment, something, and if I didn't go, it was like I'm letting someone else down. I'm not, okay, because it's not down to them, it's me, but that's how it felt. So, and that isn't something that makes me feel good. So it was both of those factors, really. I don't know how well I've answered that question. Yeah, well, what we have done at a more macro level is give me confidence that I can, lift heavier weights, be stronger, be fitter. What have we done? We've had really honest conversations about what needs to happen to be able to affect change. So all of the exercises that we do, whether they be deadlifts or dumbbell squats, which I particularly really enjoy, but I enjoy it because I can see the progress that I'm making, on a week by week, month by month basis. I suffered a fairly nasty injury a number of years ago that's never really, I don't think, fully repaired. It certainly is a part of my life day to day, and it's something that I am constantly aware of. The exercises that we have done has helped me build a lot of confidence around what I'm actually capable of doing, even with, and I use the word loosely, sort of constant pain, but it's a constant awareness that something's not right inside that right knee. So I don't think that definitely, without any question, would not have happened. The increased confidence that I've got in my ability to do things would not have happened without the support of a personal trainer. Okay, so I've had loads of wins over the few years that I've been working with you, Sam. I've already referred to the increased confidence level, and even though I'm not always the most disciplined, there's been a number of wins. Even this week, I felt brilliant about the fact that I was lifting heavier weights than I'd ever lifted by quite some considerable distance. And, the first thing I wanted to do was share that news with my family. It was something to celebrate. It was something to be proud of. But the really biggest thing is my confidence around my capability to be able to move long distances over a number of days. So, and I know I've mentioned this before, but a number of years ago I did Glastonbury. I'm quite a senior person now, so maybe a little bit too old to be going to Glastonbury, but I went anyway. And over 5 days, me and my wife, we walked, 75,000 steps every single day. So, and the fact that I was able to do that with the state of with my injury, just made me realise that actually I'm putting glass ceilings up, and I don't need to. I'm actually way more capable of exercise and hard exercise than I ever thought I could be. I think the only thing I would say is to anybody who's seeing this and anybody who's thinking about personal training, if you are finding it difficult to get the motivation to do it, then having somebody to help you do that and help you find it, it's changed my life. So, I could be no more of a stronger advocate than that. And as well as being quite hard and sometimes failing, it's actually a really good laugh. So I've made friends, not just with my personal trainer, but with the network of people that he's introduced me to as a result. And, I would strongly recommend people doing it if they're unable to do it themselves.